Hello and welcome to Never Heard It, the show where I review classic albums that I never got around to listening to. But this week I brought along a friend. He is an MC, DJ, producer residing in Portland, Oregon. He released his debut solo album, Spore Addict, in 2019. And after you finish watching this video, please go and watch his video for Shrink Rap. And you will see this guy knows a lot of hip hop records. So it was really nice to actually talk to him about an album that he had not heard. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Spinitch.
Hey, thank you, man.
What's
Appreciate
up, man?
it. Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
a nerd for sure. So
The album that we're talking about is Kool Rap's and DJ Polo's sophomore album, Wanted, Dead or Alive. Why haven't you heard this album?
it's such a good question because I really don't have a good answer for why I've never listened to this. I guess I'm probably most familiar, like 93 and onward is kind of where like I know the most and I've like spent the most time, I'd say. So I do have some gaps in like early 90s and late 80s, which like a lot of people say is like the golden age, you know. But as far as like, I'd say like I'd look at him, Rakim, and Kane, right, as kind of
Mm.
the three people who really took like lyricism to another echelon, probably. Um, in terms of kind of that like sort of braggadocious, like I don't know, New Yorky
Yeah.
sort of street. You know what I mean?
So
Like they
like
pioneered a lot.
and also like the lyrical dexterity,
Yes,
just combo on top of combo, syllable after
exactly.
syllable, just crazy.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and G Rap is like maybe we'll get into that, but he's like maybe the best
Yeah.
at
Yeah,
that
it's
or
crazy.
really perfected that
Yeah.
that style. So but yeah, for some reason, and I know how many of like my favorites were directly influenced by G Rap specifically. Um but I hadn't really heard that much. I've listened to 456 a good amount, his solo album, and then I've heard Road to the Riches. I listened to like early on, definitely. But yeah, for some reason I haven't, as much as I really like G Rap, but like I haven't listened to him. You know, we all kind of have
Yeah.
artists like that where
Yeah.
I don't know, for some reason just
Yeah.
hadn't
Well,
gotten
he's
around to it.
not as popular as, Rakim and Big Daddy Kane, as you said. Like
I
it's
know, and I wonder
for some
why, you
reason,
know?
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. I don't know if he ever had like an album that really hit the same way that,
Yeah.
Rakim's album would hit.
Right, like Paid
Um
in Full and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah. He didn't really
Yeah.
have that like
Ha-
classic
yeah.
necessarily.
Have you heard Live and Let Die?
Not really. I haven't heard that one much
Okay.
either.
That's actually my favorite. It
Really?
is it is
It's like
one of the
92 or
best.
something?
I want to
Like
say 92, but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
Okay.
it's one of the best storytelling rap albums I've ever heard. I mean, the entire thing
Wow.
from top to bottom is just story after story. Like, and he really didn't do that on. I mean, he does that obviously throughout his career, but like not a whole album where pretty much every song is a story. It's one of the
Man.
greatest. So we might have
Okay.
to do another one.
Okay, that's next. Yeah,
we,
let's do
we
a
might have to
follow-up.
do
Yeah.
a part two of this with just with that album because that's a great album.
For sure, dude.
Um, was there anything that stuck out, like, were any songs that stuck out to you on this album?
Definitely. I mean, starting it off with Streets of New York,
Mm-hmm.
just man, that track is incredible to me. I
Mm-hmm.
thought that was I thought it was so daring to put that
Mm-hmm.
first, and I
Yeah.
found out it was the first single for the album.
Did you ever
But
watch the video
it's
for it?
just so top. I haven't. No, I actually
Oh,
haven't seen. I
you
saw
should.
the Erase Racism
The video is pretty
video
good.
with.
It's impressive how good it is, especially
Okay.
for the time.
Yeah, I'll check it for sure. That track is incredible. The just how topical it is
Mm-hmm.
and how true everything is still.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, especially I feel like at that time, just the the like literary qualities of everything. But it's so visual, the imagery. It just just lyrically, it's just really incredible how he was able to paint those pictures and incorporate so many different examples of things to tell that story. And a funny thing I learned was he was the first one to say the bar, "At night I cover my ears in tears, man downstairs must have drank too many beers," which is an incredible couplet, first of all.
Yeah.
But LP used that on Last Good Sleep from Funk
Mm.
Crusher Plus, which is one of
Yeah.
my favorite albums. And I didn't know that that was originally a G-Rap line.
There you go.
So yeah, the more you know,
Yeah.
That's just such a dope line. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's just cool that LP used that one for such a good song.
Yeah, and another thing about that song and this whole album actually is, did you know like Large Professor produced the?
Yeah, I did.
So
I saw, and Eric B like kind of took
gets
the credit for it.
Yeah, the one thing that I noticed about this whole album is the credits. Like the credits really stand out because first of all, it's Polo and Kool G Rap, but supposedly DJ Polo didn't do any scratching. Like some people say that he didn't do any scratching on any of the 3 albums that they did. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
But they're like there is contention on whether or not he actually did that.
So that's Rakim did a lot of the scratching that was credited to Eric B. So I don't understand.
Yeah,
they were like the precursor to DJ Khaled, or something. Like, just they have their name on the record, but like,
Yeah, and then there's that, and also like this is a Juice Crew album, almost no Marley Marl, except for the one song
behind
the one song at the end. Honestly, I don't think there's enough information about Marley Marl out there. Like there's I think maybe Nori interviewed him. I need to watch that interview. And there may be I think a Questlove Supreme that's really old that maybe has one on it. But I don't know. It's kind of hard to find the story of what exactly happened with the Juice Crew because I don't know. It supposedly he was not making the beats and he was kind of jerking people around, supposedly like that. But
which is unfortunate because he's a great producer.
Yeah, I haven't heard a definitive story. But
interesting.
Maybe there has to be something out there. So I got to search for that.
Yeah,
but he only had the one song on there, which is Rikers Island,
right?
Which was put out, which was from '87, and it sounds like it's from '87. It sounds completely different for the rest of this album. So it's kind of just tacked on.
It's the last song, right?
Yeah. And actually, how I know that song is from Nori. Nori did a version of Rikers Island on his album.
Oh, okay.
So I heard that version first, and then I heard this a few years ago. I was like, oh, that's where he got it from.
That's that. Yeah, there's a lot with this album that influenced later people. It seems like, it's just really cool.
And then we were talking about the credits again. Of course, Large Professor produced pretty much this whole album. There's only 2 songs he didn't produce, and he's a ghost producer for the whole thing. So.
Right, because he was the young dude without a name yet.
Yeah. So the only people that actually put in work was Kool G Rap and Large Professor. Everybody else gets all this credit.
It's so weird. It really made me appreciate Large Pro even deeper. I'm already a super fan of his. He's definitely one of the greatest and very underrated, I feel like. But I didn't even know he did this whole album, and it's so dope. The beats they're so ahead of the time, and I feel like he really innovated certain techniques, that a lot of people were really influenced by. But he doesn't seem to get he's he's gotten his dabs, but not like that,
So is there anything else any other standout tracks?
Definitely. I mean, Money in the Bank's super dope. Large Pro has a great verse on that.
Oh, and that's one of the songs where I think he actually did get credit but that was probably only
Right.
because he had a verse on it.
Exactly. Right. Right.
Yeah.
It uses this really dope drum break
Mm-hmm.
that I just love. It's Rory O, Do It Your Way. It's like a 45 that's really hard to get, and it's a
I didn't know
pretty
that.
rare break,
Uh-huh.
and it just has this really specific like kick and snare sound that's so fat. So loved that. Um
Oh, and going back
apparently
to
and I oh, go
the
ahead.
production on Streets of New York, like one of
Yeah.
my favorite parts is that like when he says like the blind man is playing sax in the alley or whatever, when Large Professor
Yeah.
puts the sax in, it's like, oh man, this guy,
Genius,
I
man.
loved it.
Like
I loved
so
it.
detailed. He was
Uh huh.
so detailed. It
Yeah.
wasn't just like loops always, he'd have
Mm-hmm.
the loop and that song is a dope like switch up where it hits
Mm-hmm.
like the piano part like
Mm-hmm.
dun, dun, like that. So dope.
Yeah,
It's
amazing.
just amazing, timeless. And apparently, funny story on Back to Money in the Bank. Apparently, Nas was gonna be on that, and they were
Mm-hmm.
in the studio because he was hanging out a lot with Eric B. At the time, I read this somewhere when I was researching, and
Mm-hmm.
apparently, he like went to go get weed or something with a girl or something like that, and then they let Ant Live do the verse,
Oh
but
man.
yeah, because Nas was hanging around like Large Pro and
Oh
them
man.
at the time.
That's crazy.
So
That's
that would have
oh
been
man.
crazy because that would have been that I think it would have been his first
Mm-hmm.
appearance ever because
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken, Live at the Barbecue was like his first, and that I
Yeah.
think that was 91.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
great song and album, Breaking Atoms. So that's a wild like
Yeah, that's
what if.
crazy.
That's a fun one, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been amazing to be like introduced by someone that you look up to like that. That would have been amazing. But oh well,
Insane.
you
Yeah.
gotta, you gotta get your priorities in order.
Exactly. Yeah. No, but you're right. Like it's so crazy how Cool G clearly influenced like so many
Oh yeah.
people. But yeah, he's just not quite known on the level of like
Hmm.
Rakim. Super fascinating. Yeah, I loved Bad to the Bone. Great beat.
Hmm.
Super hard. Just and kind of weird. There were a couple joints on here like Death Wish too. Like
Hmm.
late in the album, they have like really interesting loops and strange samples. That's kind of dark, mysterious. Stuff that wasn't
Hmm.
really being produced like that at the time. Like it kind of reminded me of something like Redman would have done on There Is a Dark Side or stuff.
Hmm.
There's
Yeah.
like some weird, dark, eerie stuff laden throughout this album that was fascinating. It
Hmm.
has it's a nice hodgepodge of a lot of there's like
Yeah.
the classic just breakbeaty up tempo stuff, but
Hmm.
like Kool is back. That
Yeah.
joint's crazy
I
too.
mean, it's just no chorus,
Yeah,
just bars for 3 minutes straight. Just
like who was doing that at that time? It's
yeah.
crazy, dude. Like yeah, straight 3 minutes of
Yeah.
bars on a verse. Like that wasn't people weren't doing that. Like
Hmm.
it's
I
cool.
mean, the only other person was Kane. That would be the
Yeah,
only other other
exactly.
person that did something like that was Kane.
Exactly.
Mm.
And just yeah, his internals and his schemes
Yeah,
like were so crazy for the time.
yeah.
Like
My favorite part of the album was probably like the back half. It's like between Cool is Back, Play It Cool, Death Wish, Jive
yes,
Talk, just back all those songs back. Man,
it's such a good stretch.
yeah,
It's like that's like oh
it's a great
shoot,
stretch.
like yeah, crazy stretch. Play It Cool was
Mm,
fat too. Yeah, that bass line is like so fat, man.
mm.
Yeah, I really yeah. This has a
Mm.
lot of tracks. I'll definitely come back to. Like I'm stoked for sure. It's a good
Cool.
one to study. Even
Yeah,
just
yeah,
production and lyrically is just so ahead of its time.
yeah. I really liked Talk Like Sex. It was just such
Oh
a
my god, dude.
like wow. It was just
Yeah.
so over the top and
Oh
just
my-
it was like almost too short esque. just
Yo,
like and how hilarious it is, just so over the top,
I
so
know,
good.
man. I like I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah. No, and like I read he said he was just kind of trying to like play a character and kind of trying
Mm,
to like ruffle people's feathers
yeah,
with it, just be
yeah,
kind of bombastic
yeah.
and that was like kind of his style on this album. A lot of it isn't like necessarily and this I really like this about it. It's not necessarily true per se.
Hmm.
He was kind of
Yeah,
embodying a character to some extent, and that later on became super prevalent with
yeah.
people in styles. Um, but God, that song, man, it's like I don't know, like I wouldn't listen to it like
Hmm.
much. It's
Yeah.
like so raunchy, like
It was just like
uh,
it's one of those songs where I'm listening to the rest of the album, I'm into it. Then I get
yeah,
to that one, like, whoa.
ex- but like I kind of I also like respect how
Mm,
that was it, like very daring to do.
mm,
you know
yeah,
and overall it's just funny. Like
yeah,
but there's probably some stuff that's kind of problematic on there or
yeah. Oh,
whatever, but
absolutely, absolutely,
sure, but
no doubt.
but it's yeah,
Um,
it's a wild one for sure.
yeah. So you're saying that you watched the video for Erase Racism, right?
Yes, I did. I
So
just watched that today.
do you know the history behind like where that video was shot?
No,
Did
please
you hear about?
give
Oh,
me
so
the
do you
backstory.
know who you hear about the death of Yusuf Hawkins? This,
The name
no.
sounds familiar, but I don't know too
So
much. Yeah.
in '89 in Brooklyn, he was just walking through a neighborhood, and a mob of white dudes just attacked him and shot him and killed him. And
Jesus.
yeah, it just caused like a lot of like protests, and I mean, it's nothing has changed, obviously.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
For real.
but yeah, so they actually went to the block where Yusef was killed and shot that video. So those
Wow.
guys that you see in the back, the white dudes, they're just guys there that live there,
Oh,
and they
wow.
just they asked them to be in the video.
So wow, now I'm like very
Yeah,
curious to go back and
yeah.
kind of
When I
look
like
into
when I
that.
heard the song, I initially like it was, I don't know, it's a little rosy. It's a little like
Sure.
okay, well, yeah, it's a
I
little
know.
yeah,
I kind
but
of felt that too, but
and then I felt that they were kind of doing sort of like not musically, but overall the song is kind of like Public Enemy, where you have like the
yeah.
serious rappers, then you have kind of like the Flavor Flav type,
Yeah.
just to make it funny.
Of like Biz on the hook.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So you have
yeah.
Biz singing so that it's
Yeah.
kind of have the yin and the yang, so it's not too
Exactly.
serious. It kind of felt like
Exactly.
that's the lane they were going towards.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah, they were trying to kind of get like a broad audience
Yeah,
maybe to be
yeah.
down with it. Yeah, it wasn't so like
Yeah, but
yeah,
yeah,
pointed.
reading about about the video did make me respect it a lot more than probably than more than I initially did.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Yeah. That's super fascinating for
Mm.
sure. Yeah, I'll have to look into it.
So, was there anything on the album that you didn't like?
Um I thought I don't know, not that much. Like I really like it, man.
Mm.
Yeah, like we kind of said, talk like sex is like I don't know. That's probably getting skipped. Like
Mm.
if I was playing it back to back, I'm glad I heard it once, type of
Yeah.
thing. But
Mm.
yeah, I really like to play it again, Polo. I'm just kind of looking at the track list. I mean, I think like Polo Club, I wasn't crazy on maybe.
Yeah, it's kind of like a house track that they put
Yeah,
on.
exactly.
And it's kind of weird because like normally in hip hop albums there is like a instrumental track. A lot of people do that, like Egg B and Rakim
Sure,
do it, and Public Enemy would do it, but it's
definitely.
usually in the middle. And the fact that
Right.
it was like right tacked on the end.
Yeah, that one, I don't know if that needed to be there per se.
Yeah. So anything else you want to talk about Anything we skipped? Anything we missed?
Um, I really, really love the breaks that Large Pro was using on this
Mhm.
album, and like some of them I don't think had really been used before. You know, I heard like "Take Me to the Mardi Gras,"
Yeah.
Bob James, which is like a probably top 5 like most used
Yeah.
drum break, right? And for good reason,
Yeah.
obviously. But there was like that Tom Scott break on Rikers Island that was super dope. And the Zimbaku, the Black Heat break, I love that one too. If there's any breakheads out there, this is a good good album for to you know hear what kind of breaks he was going with. It's yeah, I think the production was just so ahead of its time. It was like my huge takeaway, and then just how G Rap was so
Yeah.
ahead of his time.
So, final question I have to ask: do you understand why it's a classic?
It to me, it has all the things that I would deem kind of classic, and in that
Mhm.
convo, it excels in most of the
Mhm.
criteria, if you will,
It checks off all the boxes, ticks all the boxes.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you?
What do I understand why it's a classic?
Yeah, like yeah,
Yeah, I do. It's well, like we just said, it ticked off all the boxes. Like production, I mean, as far as production, it's kind of Large Professor's like first really, really like. I mean, he did
yeah.
the Eric B and Rakim album, but that was only like maybe a few songs, and so there's some contention
Right.
about that as how much he actually did
Oh,
work on it,
crazy.
whether it was like the whole album or whatever.
That's
But
crazy.
like this is probably like the first work of Large Professor, like probably the biggest body of work, the first really big body of work where he produced everything but 2 songs. And the 2 songs
Right.
that he didn't produce are meh. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah. They don't really
like
hold
I mean,
up to the
yeah, I
rest.
mean,
Yeah.
Erase Racism he didn't
Yeah.
produce, and Rikers Island he didn't produce, and
Yeah.
he didn't produce the Polo Club.
Okay.
Yeah, the Polo
Yeah.
Club
I
joint. So,
mean, yeah.
and
So
those songs,
yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
pretty much everything on here that he made is a banger. And then
For real.
just lyrically, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like I
I
said,
know.
Kool is Back is probably my favorite as far as just bars, just 3 minutes
Yes.
of just bars,
It's
and
so impressive. It's
yeah,
like it's
and like to this day, like there's hardly anyone that could, even
yeah.
step to it.
I know. I
Yeah,
know. And his like his delivery is
and he has
so
a lisp.
good. I know. I know. He
He
kind
does
of
all that with a lisp.
yeah, for sure. Like and makes it fly. Like
Yeah.
his voice, like he has such a like his delivery. It's like like if you were like show aliens like what does a rapper sound like? Like Cool G rap, but yeah, this is like it. Like
Yeah,
he, you know, he's just excellent in like every way.
yeah.
And yeah, just how he on that song specifically, just how he just relentlessly like attacks it, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just so many internal rhymes just jammed into the
Mm-hmm.
to the brim, and but he's a little unorthodox, like where he like lands rhymes is like sometimes it like kind of keeps you guessing. It's like slightly on the downbeat, and then he'll
Mm-hmm.
go back to the snare and whatever, and but it all works. It all feels so fluid. It's really insane. I don't I
Yeah.
it's crazy. Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
not a lot of people could do that now.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
so long live Cool G Rap.
for real. Yeah, I'm glad we
Yeah.
definitely see eye to
Yeah.
eye on that. Yeah, man, the Cool G
Uh,
rap is the shit.
okay, so while we're wrapping up, is there anything that you want to talk about? Anything that you have coming out, music?
Yeah, working on a couple different projects. One of them's instrumental. One of them will have rap. and then I'm producing a friend's album. So I kind of got three things that are really on the table, and then you know, a few beats for people here and there that should come out sometime soon. We'll see. Yeah, I haven't quite like announced anything yet, but yeah, definitely keeping busy and
All right.
and you
So
know,
you're working on
doing
something
it.
before the 2021. We
I
should
think I will
get
do.
something.
Yes, I will drop a project this year for sure. Maybe two, maybe, but for sure one will come out this year. What about
All
you,
right.
man? You got stuff coming soon?
Oh, me? Yeah, I'm actually I'm working with some MCs. Can't really disclose
Dope,
it yet, but yeah, yeah, a couple of people have asked for beats, so I'm sending out beats.
dope, man.
And
Stoked for
yeah,
that.
I have like a collaborator. I have an album coming out with another producer that maybe we'll talk about, but like I said, I can't can't talk too much about it.
Okay,
Then I
tight.
have my own solo stuff probably coming out, so so I'm working.
Let's go. We're working, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you heard Wanted Dead or Alive? Are you still bumping it to this day? I'm gonna keep talking about albums until we run out. Until then, we are two guys on the internet that don't know everything. Peace.
Correct. Peace.